And here comes Ralphie. She may be the star of the show, but we're going to find out about the Handlers. One of the worst football games in CU history. But the volleyball team's at least off to a good start. Sports Mag, it starts now.
Hello and welcome to CU Sports Mag. I'm Audra Streetman sitting alongside Rose Heaphy, and we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, unfortunately though, we're going to start off with that disappointing loss against Fresno State for the football team. So that was a little upsetting, but let's take a look at some of those highlights from that game. All right, CU's hopes were high, and so was the temperature as they entered Bulldog Stadium. At kickoff, it was 102 degrees, but the Buffs, they'd start off cold. Senior running back Robbie Rouse, however, he owned the house, scoring the first 3 touchdowns for the Dogs. The score was already 35-0 at the end of the first quarter. Colorado finally got on the board with a 23-yard pass from Jordan Webb to Tyler McCulloch, making it 48-7. Rouse, he'd be the man of the hour as he became the all-time leading rusher at Fresno State. Let's take a look at some of those stats. As we can see on the, he ran for 144 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns with 9 carries. And Carr was the quarterback for Fresno State, 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So pretty good night for Fresno State.
Despite the tough loss, John Embry maintains an optimistic outlook about last weekend's game. In a press conference Tuesday, Embry explains the players' mistakes. He said they have 5 one-play drives because they are thinking about the drive before when they gave up a play, instead of just focusing on the next play. They get so robotic in their passion and their fun and all of their hard work. That's when you're supposed to have fun, and we're not doing that. Even though the team is upset about the loss, Embry believes that their passion is this thing that's going to get them as a team. He offered some words of encouragement. He said, just because you hit a wall or a roadblock doesn't mean you stop preparing. It means you succumb to it. I wanted to let them know I believe in them. And especially as young players, you cannot hear that enough. I don't want them to worry. I don't want their confidence shaking. We took a punch and got knocked down, but we're going to get back up. Embry will be able to test this resilience next week at Washington State on the road Saturday.
Injuries are also taking a toll on Colorado. Cornerback Greg Henderson has been out the last 2 weeks after an ankle injury against CSU. He will return this weekend against Washington State, however. Ray Polk, he's missing his 3rd consecutive week, and Gus Handler is traveling, but his return remains questionable. Doug Rippey and Marquise Mosley have knee injuries, but Mosley is expected to play. Brad Connor is suffering from a ruptured capsule in his big toe. He is joining the injured reserve list and is expected to be out for up to 5 weeks.
Green Bay Packers kicker Mason Crosby, a 2006 CU graduate, led the Packers to victory against their divisional rivals, the Chicago Bears. A strongly defensive game, Crosby was called upon 3 times, making a 48-yard field goal along with a 35-yarder and a game-clinching 54-yard field goal to lead the Packers to victory. Crosby was drafted in 2007 and still holds the CU record with a 60-yard field goal against Iowa State in 2004. Other notable CU grads in the NFL include Justin Drescher and Jimmy Graham of the New Orleans Saints, teammates for the first time who were involved in a shootout of a loss against the Carolina Panthers. Jimmy Smith recorded 3 solo tackles with the Baltimore Ravens when they battled out a nail-biter against the Philadelphia Eagles.
And speaking of CU's Buffs in the NFL, that brings us to this week's trivia question. This week, the question is, who is the highest Buff taken in the NFL draft? Now, think about that, and we'll have that answer coming up after the break.
Speaking of that break, coming up, CU Sports Mag's Derek Kessinger and Megan Thompson discuss some CU football.
Yeah, and Sports Mag reporter Alexis Perry will give us an inside look into the training that goes into becoming a Ralphie runner. So that'll be exciting. Stay tuned.
CU students who join the Peace Corps are usually very adventurous people, very outdoorsy. They usually are very caring, very passionate people.
For the 2nd year in a row, CU Boulder has outproduced all other universities in the nation, both big and small, in the number of alumni who are serving as Peace Corps volunteers. That's a very, very important thing for us.
Peace Corps continues to be the gold standard
for international volunteer service. It's Americans making a difference around the world, and many of those Americans have come from this great university. I'm not sure if it's the beautiful setting or the mountains or the weather, but one thing's for sure, there's a special civic pride on this campus.
The great spirit of volunteerism here on campus and internationalism that you find here really just kind of brings Peace Corps out a little more than it does on other campuses, I think.
You should be very proud to come from a campus that inspires so much public service and collectively works to build a better world.
Well, the Buffs, they took a tough hit against Fresno State, and the future of the football season may be in jeopardy.
That's right. Sports Mag's Derek Kessinger and Megan Thompson hit the double team set to discuss the future of CU football and what the Buffs need to improve on in order to gain a win.
Welcome to Double Team. I'm Derek Kessinger alongside Megan Thompson, and today we're going to talk about the CU football program, which is now off to a horrible start at 0-3.
Yeah, a really horrible start. 0-3 against three of the easiest teams on our schedule, losing to Fresno State 69-14. Such a tough loss, coming after an embarrassing loss at Sacramento State.
Yeah, I could not believe that at Fresno State at halftime they were down 55-0, and it got worse from there, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Fresno State was on a roll. The Buffs had no motivation. They could have lost that game by at least 100. Fortunately, they let up a little bit, but the main problem for the Buffaloes right now seems to be that they have no motivation on the sideline. Things start to go badly. They've seen it before, especially the older players, and they just lose all hope here.
Right, it seems like Embry's lost control of this team at this point after these three losses. And he did say that he was going to make some changes this week. He sat down with each and every single individual player, looked them in the eye to tell them, I still believe in you. And he's just trying to get back to fun football. Bieniemy is going to be on the sidelines this week, so hopefully we'll see some good things happen.
Well, and obviously Bieniemy's been on the NFL sideline before, a bigger game, but at the same time that could help translate. He's a big guy. He is very aggressive on the sideline, so it'll be good to have him back down there, a role he's been in before. But really, you look at this coaching staff, and this is part of the problem. They have a lack of experience. Only Cabral, the linebackers coach, has been in the position before. Embry brought in an entirely inexperienced staff, and I think you're really seeing that through the last few weeks.
They're coming out on Saturdays. They're not looking prepared at all, and I think this has to do with the weakness in our execution. I mean, you have 8 true freshmen starting each week. I mean, that's going to pose some problems.
It definitely is, and I see several other problems with this team. First of all, it's still sort of Dan Hawkins' team. You see that only half the players are Embry's. He's still waiting for that recruiting cycle to come through. Second of all, the players that were really catalysts for him, the Tyler Hansen, Stewart, and then you have the injured players like Richardson and Rippey who are still around. They're not on the team right now specifically playing. They are not there to kind of send out his message, and it's kind of a demotion in talent, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, I mean, Embry, it seems like he's lost support, definitely from the fan base who's just gone through a decade of terrible Colorado Buffalo football. And then he even had to delete his Twitter due to harassment. Like, these fans are just not having it. And if he cannot turn this program around, pull out a win somewhere during the season, he may lose the faith of the players as well as the school. And do you think that if he cannot turn it around, we go 0-12, is his job at stake?
I don't think it's at stake this year for several reasons. First of all, he has a 5-year contract, and they really think about that as 5 years. Coaches get about 5 years to turn the school around. That's what Hawkins almost got. He lost that. But you also have other problems as far as you don't want to give him all that money. At the same time, losing to Sacramento State, that was a Division 1A school. That's a year off his job easily. So now he only has 4 years. And then you look at an 0-12 season, I think he may only have 1 more year to turn this program around.
Yeah, I mean, if we go 0-12, the program, this would be the worst season the program has ever seen. In 1980 and 1984, they went 1-11. That's horrible, but at least they found a win somewhere. If they go 0-12, the team will literally be defeated for an entire season, which is awful.
Yeah, and I really do think that then you have to look at tough questions inside of it, but their best chance may be coming this weekend against Washington State.
I definitely agree with that. Washington, you know, they're kind of down right now. They have a new coach as well, so we'll see if they can pull off the win.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for Double Team. I'm Derek Kessinger alongside Megan Thompson. Let's send it back to the desk.
You see them running across the field before every CU football game. But what does it take to become a Ralphie runner? SportsMag's Alexis Perry reports.
As the University of Colorado football team takes to Folsom Field on game day, one team precedes them, the Ralphie Handlers. As those famous words are spoken, Colorado fans stand shoulder to shoulder to watch the 1,500-pound Ralphie and 5 of her handlers in an all-out 300-meter sprint around the field. This creates an electric atmosphere that you'd almost have to feel to believe. Ralphie and 15 student athletes comprise one of the most exclusive D1 athletic teams known to college sports, and they pride themselves on representing the other 30,000 Buffs that roam the campus each year.
It's really big to represent the University of Colorado, and I think that's one of our biggest goals here, is to put a good face on the university.
Running with Ralphie requires an athletic ability that is unlike any other. One misstep could prove fatal. So without serious training, one can lose more than just their pride.
We'll have 2 training sessions in the mornings with an athletic trainer here in Dal Ward. He works with the football team and a lot of other athletic programs here, and he puts together a plan that's specific to us. We also get to work in the weight room, and a regular training regimen would consist of like 30 to 45 minutes of pretty heavy lifting, and it's cardio intensive as well because we're not breaking in between. We are a special breed of athlete, and these guys take care of us pretty well with that.
I would compare a lot of this stuff to boot camp in the Marine Corps as far as the training that we do here with Craig. More heavy weights and like powerlifting. It's really good training and gets us in shape for what we need to do. Stay fast and strong.
We train all of our varsity sports, except for the teams that train over at Coors. If there's a harder working team, and yes, I call them a team, I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
You kind of look at
Megan, did they set
what are
up for the
their
camera
movement
turn?
needs and things like that, and I kind of treat them more like a defensive back and a farmer. I think that's really the best way to look at it. It's kind of a blend of the two.
While training may be intense and time-consuming, the unique relationships the handlers share with Ralphie makes all those early morning workouts, sore bodies, and sweaty afternoon runs completely worth it.
When you're around her, you know she has, some kind of acknowledgement that you're different than other people that she could meet or she sees on games days, because she's playful with us. She'll come in the pen, she'll follow you around. It's a really cool relationship to have.
For as much as an icon as Ralphie is, she would not be America's #1 mascot without her handlers. Alexis Perry, CU Sports Mag.
Spectators at the Sacramento State game may have noticed a change of scenery at Folsom Field. Sports Mag's photojournalist Elise Farino reports on the new scoreboards added to the field this summer.
So this year, we're putting in 5 new video boards in Folsom Field. CU Athletics really stepped up this year with the Pac-12 network rolling in and everything being in high definition. We had some really nice equipment, but it was all standard depth.
You really want to have the best possible picture and the best possible production. And as soon as they walk in on game day, they're going to be able to see a quality of a picture that is going to feel like they're in their living room.
And to go along with that, we needed to upgrade our infrastructure to back it up. So we built a new control room, a new studio, a rack room, an audio room, and some edit suites to all complement the new video board project.
Not one penny of tuition revenue or institutional support has funded this initiative in any way. We use individual donations. We also have revenue association from ticket sales, from TV contracts, all the different pieces that fit in that.
I think the Pac-12 network and our membership in the Pac-12 conference really has enabled CU to do a lot of great things. We have new tools where we can do new and exciting things that we haven't been able to do before.
So we're going to be able to do a better job of showing all the different statistics that fans really want to enjoy and have right in front of them all game long.
We really try to pay attention to things that fans want to see. I think the new technology will bring more people to the game just because it's one more thing to add to their entertainment.
We're very excited about it because we're proud of our fans, and it's a way for us to salute them, to say thank you for their wonderful support, and to let them know that we're trying to do everything we can to help their game day experience be at the highest level.
The CU women's soccer team shut out the University of Wyoming last Friday in one of our last non-conference games. Wyoming has been a tough competitor in the past. CU lost last year 1-0 when the Cowgirls were under the command of current CU coach Danny Sanchez. This year's matchup went much differently, and the Buffs were able to have their way early on with goals from freshman Madison Krauser and junior Ann Stoller. Stoller's goal ended the scoring for the Wyoming game and was her 7th of the season. She is currently 2nd in goals for the Pac-12. And CU kept the ball rolling in their last non-conference game against the Air Force Falcons. The Buffs had a slow start in the first half with no goals, but momentum picked up for Colorado in the second half. Sophomore Darcy German got CU their first goal with a strong header over the Air Force defense. Junior Haley Hughes followed up with CU's second and last goal over the Falcons, scoring her second goal of the season. Colorado kept their defense up for the rest of the game, sealing victory for the Buffs. CU's new head coach is starting our girls on the right foot as we head into the Pac-12 conference.
And it's time for this week's Sports Mag's Twitter Followers of the Week. CU women's basketball coach Linda Lappy, at Linda Lappy on Twitter, is looking to lead the Buffs into their second season of Pac-12 basketball. Meanwhile, women's volleyball coach Liz Kritza, at Liz Kritza on Twitter, may be too busy to tweet during the season, but is off to a hot start with her squad. Don't forget to follow us at CU Sports Mag, and maybe you could be next week's Twitter Follower of the Week.
After the break, a recap of CU volleyball team's victory over California State, Norfolk State, and Utah.
Also, we'll profile our Athlete of the Week.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
The CU volleyball team opened up the Colorado Invitational against California State University Bakersfield. The Buffs were evenly matched throughout the tug-of-war match against the Roadrunners before picking up the 3-2 victory in the fifth set with a final score of 15-13. Nikki Lindau pounded the competition with 14 kills in the match, followed by 12 kills from Mira Ortiz-Ruiz. The match leader for the Roadrunners was junior Deborah Araujo with 19 kills. Later on Saturday, the Buffaloes went to head-to-head with Norfolk State University. The Spartans were led by senior Charlotte Armstead and freshman Jessica Johnson with 8 kills each. However, that wasn't enough to stop the Buffs from continuing their dominance at the Invitational, sweeping the match 3-0. Later, the Runners defeated NSU to finish out the tournament, leaving Norfolk in third, Bakersfield in second, and a first-place victory for CU. Colorado set the tone in their conference opener against the University of Utah. Last year, the team went 0-3 against the Utes, but this time around, the tables were turned. CU dominated the match, sweeping Utah 3-0. Ortiz Ruiz led the Buffs with 14 kills and had only 1 error on the night. The team also had an impressive match on the net with 14 blocks. Junior Elise Richardson supplied the defense with a match-high 10 digs. Head coach Liz Kritza said she attributes the win to the team's camaraderie. Let's see what the players had to say after the game.
Got done crying, so it means a lot. It actually, like I've said in the past, it means that our hard work has been paid off.
The best way we play is as a team, and that's how we're gonna, that's the way we're gonna win. And so tonight, everyone just played super well together, and that was the most important part.
To be able to pull it together and experience success early on is a very important platform that we're gonna need to keep building, because it's only gonna get tougher night in and night out.
After standout Kara Schrader was sidelined with a knee injury, the Buffs were looking for a new leader. So far this season, that person has been junior middle blocker Nikki Lindau, which makes her CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
For my personal game, I was really trying to help on the defensive side. Blocking is, because I'm a middle blocker, is something that I've really been keying on, because if we get a good block, the defense will pick it up, we'll get in transition, and we'll be able to score it more often. And with that, because we're in the Pac-12, these hitters are big, and if we can get as many touches on the block, it gives us just 2 extra chances to score. My offense will come with that, because that's my favorite and best time is my offense. My favorite, because I'm a middle, so it's a very fast tempo ball, is when I'm up in the air and there's no block, and I hit 10-foot line, which is straight down. It's that echo in the gym where it hits hard. Honestly, my favorite thing is blocking, like a stuff block. When they hit the ball and it hits my hand, we go straight down, because it's like just total domination. And it lifts the team, everyone gets excited, and we can grasp, even if we're down 5 points, it really changes the game, and that's what's great about volleyball, is it's all about momentum usually. Definitely, I've been just really trying to fill in that leadership role that we've kind of lost from Kara Schrader, and coming along, helping our freshmen out. We have a young team, so it's been nice to have them step up and help me out, and just get some wins under our belt. But I used to competitively race barrel racing, and I've been doing that since I was about 8, but no competitive racing anymore, because now I'm competitive volleyball. I'm Nikki Lindau, I'm CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
Baseball used to be a student-run club sport at CU, but this year things have changed. Sports Mag's Mandy Adkins reports a former CU student is back to coach the team to victory.
The CU club baseball team is getting back on the field with plenty of new faces and one very familiar one.
Last year we didn't have a coach, and it was pretty difficult running the team just as a captain, and I was going to be coming back to Boulder.
After graduating last spring, Tucker Hinchcliffe decided to return to coach his fellow teammates.
He's been in the program for the last 3 years, so he kind of knows how to run a club organization, rather than just a strict baseball coach who comes in and doesn't really understand what it's like to be a club player.
I think he brings a sense of authority, just someone to look up to, someone who's, making the lineups, taking a little pressure off the captains.
I thought it was a perfect opportunity because I've always wanted to coach, and I kind of knew the program.
The Buffs have high hopes for this season, where their love of the game will show.
I mean, we all love it so much, like the other captains and we love it so much that it's a time commitment that we're willing to give.
A lot of W's. All right. You heard it here first.
With a passionate team and a dedicated coach to lead the way, the CU club baseball team is bound to be the best. Mandy Adkins, CU Sports Mag.
Thanks, Mandy. Don't change the channel. Right after the break, we'll give you an update on the weather for this weekend.
And also, we'll finally have the answer to this week's trivia question. Stay tuned.
won 24 NCAA championships, sent 18 NASA astronauts into space, inspired 4 Nobel laureates, unlocked the genetic secrets of cancer in a place that averages over 300 days of sunshine a year, ranks as America's smartest and healthiest city, and is home to the mightiest mascot in college sports. If you didn't know what the University of Colorado is all about, now you do.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Bloom, former CU student, football player, Olympian, and world champion. But most importantly, I'm a forever Buff, which means I'm part of 240,000 students and alums created by the CU Boulder Alumni Association. The University of Colorado will always be something I'm very proud to be a part of. The years that I spent going to school and playing football provided me with some of the best memories of my life. So come join me in creating lifelong CU relationships and explore the Forever Buff program.
Don't be mean. Clean your machine.
Next Thursday, the University of Colorado Athletic Department will present a Parade of Buffs, a parade honoring past legendary Buffs, including linebacker Matt Russell and former coach Bill McCartney. The CU Pep Band and cheerleaders will help kick off the rally 2 days before the Buffs challenge the UCLA Bruins at Folsom Field. Doors for the event open at 6:30 p.m. at the First Bank Center in Broomfield on September 27th. It's free to everyone who registers in advance by visiting cubuffs.com/events.
It was the greatest game ever played in CU women's golf history. The women's golf team participated in the Dick McGuire Invitational in New Mexico this week, and junior Jenny Coleman stole the show. Coleman scored a career-best 11 under par and finished first in the individual category for the tournament. Her score of 208 made her the first CU player to go 10 under par in a tournament and is now the best 50-hole score in Buffs history. The Buffs finished 8th overall in the tournament. The women's golf team will be back in action on October 1st for the Windy City Classic.
And now it's time to answer that pesky trivia question. Just to remind you what the question was, it was, who is the highest Buff taken in the NFL draft? And the answer is Bo Matthews. He was the 2nd overall pick in 1974 to the San Diego Chargers.
Well, things are starting to cool down in Boulder and finally feels like fall's on the way. So it looks like Nicole Cheddar, she'll have this week's forecast.
Take it away.
Is just around the corner. The weather isn't changing quite yet. Right now we have a high pressure system right over Colorado, which is why we're seeing those high 80s and mid 80s going on right now. Today we had a high of 82 and right now just a little bit of wind. It's going to be chilly tonight, but let's take a look at the 4-day forecast for this weekend. Beautiful, beautiful weather for Saturday and Sunday, high of 70s and mid 80s. If you plan on going climbing, hiking, do it before Monday night and Sunday because there's going to be tons of rain. And for all you Buff fans that are going out to the game in Washington, you're going to have absolutely beautiful football weather. High of 82, partly cloudy. So Audie, Rose, don't forget to pack your sunscreen if you guys go out to the game. Back to you guys at the news desk.
Thank you for watching CU Sports Mag.
Don't forget to check us out on the web at cusportsmag.com and also to follow us on Twitter. Have a great day.